Kia ora guys, welcome back to this video. This is for the Year 9 Material World series, and this video is about chromatography as a way to separate mixtures. So by the end of this lesson, you should be able to identify the different separating techniques, and in particular, you should be able to describe chromatography as a way of separating mixtures, and be able to carry out chromatography yourself. So what is chromatography? Well, chromatography was originally referred to as separation of color, but now we use it to separate different colored compounds within a mixture. Let's have a look at this video. Okay, so that is one particle or one compound in a mixture. And here is the mixture of all those different colored particles. To carry out chromatography, you need to put your mixture onto a piece of filter paper or paper. And then you're going to dip this mixture into some kind of solvent that your particles in your mixture are going to dissolve in. Now pay attention to this stationary phase and the mobile phase. As the solvent gets drawn up on the paper, your mixture actually separates into different colors. The different colors are the different compounds that are found in your mixture. So as you saw in the video, there are two parts to this chromatography technique. There's the stationary phase and there's the mobile phase. Stationary meaning it doesn't move. It's the material on which you put the mixture. And so in chromatography, the stationary phase is the paper. The strip of paper can be filter paper, tissue paper, anything that liquid can move through. The mobile phase, mobile meaning it moves, is the solvent. The solvent is what the compounds in the mixture dissolve into. And so the solvent we're going to use in our experiment today is going to be water, and it's going to sweep up the soluble components in the mixture. So as you saw in the video before that we played, you put a dot of the original mixture down here, and then you dip it in your solvent, which today we're going to use water. After some time, your mixture is going to start to separate into different colored bands or different colored areas. And those different colored areas will be the different compounds found in that mixture. This is just a drawing. It's not actually what it looks like in real life. Real life is going to look more like this. You can see it's not clear circles, right? It's like bands or it's like streaks of different colors that is found in the mixture. So what's the theory behind chromatography? Well, the most soluble colored compounds travel through the stationary phase, the paper, fastest, while the least soluble colored compounds travel through the stationary phase the slowest. So if we look at this green pen, green ink, we can see that it's separated into about two colors, two different colored compounds. There's the yellow compound that traveled fastest, it traveled furthest away from the original site. That means it's the most soluble compound. Whereas this blue streak over here traveled slower than the yellow part. It traveled less distance, and so it means it's less soluble. So now it's our time to do this chromatography at home. The aim of this at-home practical is to separate the colored compounds in ink pens using chromatography. Hi guys, so I'm in my kitchen at home so that I can demonstrate to you guys how to do this experiment. And to demonstrate, I'm going to do it myself. So my laptop's just there, I'm going to read the materials and show you what the materials look like. So you're going to need several ink pens, and I've whipped out a couple of pens from my stationery box here at home. I've got a couple of colored pens like orange, green, brown, red, and this olive color. And I've also got a couple of black pens. So this one's a gray, these are three different black pens. You're gonna need some paper towels. I think 2 is gonna be enough. You know, you can even do this all on just one paper towel so you're not wasting any. And you're going to need scissors to cut your paper towel into strips. You're also going to need a cup. So glass is good if possible so that you can see the colours travel up. But if you don't have a glass cup, then you can just use a small bowl. Anything that a small amount of water can hold. You're going to need some water, and you're also going to need a clothesline. So I've got a clothesline behind me, or you can use a hanger, just anything to hang the paper strips on. And you're going to need some pegs or paper clips or something, or sellotape to hang your paper strips on the hanger or on the clothesline. To be honest, if you don't even have a hanger or a clothesline available, you can just use the edge of a table or just sellotape it onto something to hang it down. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to collect all of your equipment and set up in your kitchen or your dining room or your laundry or anywhere that's not got carpet on the floor, because if you get ink on the floor, it's going to be really hard to get out in your carpet and your parents might get mad at you. So set up somewhere that it's easy to clean up. The second thing you're going to do is you're going to pour just a small amount of water in your cup or in your bowl. As you can see here, I've just got about 1 centimeters deep worth of water. Okay, you don't need much water. Less is best. Then you're going to get your paper towel and you're going to cut it into strips. Now you can see the paper towel I've got at home has this green like border. I just want to cut that off because it's going to be hard to see the color separation if I've got colors already on my paper towels. So I'm just going to cut the green borders off. And because I've got 2 paper towels for this, I'm going to do the same for the other one. Now I'm going to take my paper towel and cut it into strips. To be honest, you don't need very long strips. I'm going to make mine very long, but you can just halve this sheet of paper towels, and your strip has to be about 2 centimeters wide and about 10 centimeters length. But I'm going to take the whole length for mine because I've got lots of paper towels at home. Okay, so I've just finished cutting my strips, and I stopped when I got to about 14 strips because I've only got 9 pens, and so I'll only really need 9 strips unless you want to do it over and over again. So for 9 pens, 9 strips is fine. Then you're going to take each pen and you're going to put a small but intense dot 1 centimeter away from the edge of your strip. You don't want the dot to be too close to the bottom because you don't actually want the dot touching the water. You want the dot to be above the water. So I'm going to do my dot actually maybe 2 centimeters up from the edge. Now, see what I mean by having it quite high up from the edge, so that the dot itself doesn't touch the water. Now I'm going to put a little bit of ink on my dot, and then I'm going to let it dry. And then I'm going to put in some more ink and then let it dry. If you don't let it dry, you just keep going on it, it's going to tear and you're going to have a hole, which is not what you want. You want to keep applying as much ink as possible onto that dot, let it dry, put some ink, and then I turn it over and put some more of the ink on it. When I've got enough ink on there, so you just want to try and get as much ink on it as possible. When you think you're done, you're going to hold your paper towel vertically, and you're going to dip the very end of the paper towel into the water. Now, immediately, the water should spread upwards, and the ink should spread upwards along with the water. You're going to hold this in for about a minute, and it's a game of patience. So I can still see the water climbing up, and so I'm going to keep holding this into the water. I can see the ink spreading. I don't see different colors yet, but we'll have to wait and see. When it dries, you'll be able to see the different colors better. My hand's getting sore, so I'm going to swap the other one out. You just have to be really, really patient with this. The longer you've got your strip dipped in the water, the further the ink will travel up, the more spread out the colours will be. Okay, so the water has now travelled up quite far, like maybe halfway up. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use the clothes peg to hang up the strip on my clothesline. And I'm going to wait about an hour for this to dry. And I'm going to remember that this was the pen that came out from, so this is the first pen we used. I'm going to do this again with the next colour, but this time I'm going to hold the camera so that you can see up close as to what I'm doing. Okay guys, so here is the intense green dot I made with this green pen right here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the strip vertically. I'm going to place the very tip of this in the water. Oh, got stuck. Okay. Can you see how the dye is moving right up with the water? So what's happening is that the dye compounds in the water start to dissolve. They're soluble in water, so they're dissolving in the water. And as the water creeps up in the paper towel, the dyes that are most soluble, oh, just going to put it back into focus. The dyes that are most soluble travel up the paper towel fastest. Can you see that there's a yellow dye at the front? So like the yellow dye is the highest. And then it's followed by some green dye. Sorry, my focus isn't very good. So I'm going to let this run up the paper strip for a couple more minutes, and then I'm going to hang this up on my clothesline to let it dry. And you'll be able to see the colours better after it's dried. Cool, so 2 colours down, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to go. I'm going to keep doing the same steps that I talked to you about for the rest of the colours. Okay, so I've done the chromatography for all of the 9 pens. Now I did this one twice because I wasn't sure if the first one was going to work, but the first one, look at how beautiful those colours are. And look at every single one of them. Colours have actually separated. So this one is like a brownish, and then it fades into a green at the tips. It's got blue. With this next two ones, there's blue, and then it goes into a green, and then it goes into a yellow. This next one, the colours separate with the pink at the bottom, it goes into a brown, and then it goes into a green and a blue at the top. With this next one here, you've got the light pink, which goes into a red, and then the peach colour, and it finishes with the yellow. Here's the first black we did, and it's black, but then it goes into a purple and a pink colour. This one starts off as like a pinky colour, it goes into orange, and then it goes into yellow. Here are the rest of the black colours, I think. This one goes into a purple and a yellow. This one goes into a purple, a black, an orange yellow, and then it ends up with a blue at the top. And the last one we had was a bit of grey, and it turns into kind of like an orangey coloured over here, and then a blue at the top. So chromatography ends up showing us the mixtures of colour compounds in our ink. So when you guys do your experiment, make sure you keep your dried strips, because these are your chromatograms that you guys are going to stick into your books, and you're going to write up a results section, a discussion section, and an evaluation section. Now that you've finished conducting your experiment, you have to write up your results. So in your results, you have to describe what you observed, what you saw from your chromatogram, from your strips of tissue paper. Describe the colours you see. So let's take this one. The colours we saw from this pen was it separated into blue and yellow colours. What about this chromatogram? In this chromatogram, we saw that the ink split into purple, peach, and yellow colours. Whereas this chromatogram over here split into pink, green, and blue colours. From your observations, did you see any new colours appear out of the basic dyes? So for example, this one was originally the black ink. And the new colours we saw are purple, pink, green, and blue, because those aren't black, they're new colours. Also, ask yourself, how high did the compounds go compared to each other? So for example, the yellow compound travelled higher than the blue compound did. After results, you will write up a discussion section. Now, your discussion aims to explain what you observed. So, when the dyes were separated, they will have split into several different colours, which is what we saw here. Did these colours match your expectations? Would you expect to be able to mix these pigments back together to get the original dye? So let's say you look at this one here, it's split into peach, pink, and a little bit of yellow at the end. Would this mix back to the original colour? Now, I can't remember which one the original colour was, but the question is about asking, do you think if you mix these compounds, they'll go back to the original mixture colour? What order were the colours separated in? In this example here, you've got the pink, then you've got the yellow. And what does this order tell you about the relation of the compounds to the solvent, which is water? So discussion is all about you thinking about what actually happened in the experiment. And finally, the evaluation is about you evaluating your experiment. How did your experiment go? Did you have any problems? If you did have problems, what did you do to overcome these problems? Maybe you didn't have some of the equipment. How did you make it work? And how would you change the experiment method to make sure that you get better results next time you try this again? So awesome, you've made it to the end of the lesson. So by now you should be able to describe chromatography and carry out chromatography either at home or in class. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.